All right, let's call this session to order. Stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Robinette is not going to be here tonight, so I will take over. I'm Jason Belk. And since Lauren Ashby has taken another role, we are going to have to replace her role as secretary. So Jerry Spindler has taken her place, so he will take a roll call and just serve for secretary. Yep.
With the officer position, want to go ahead and do a nomination for Jerry Secretary.
Okay. I nominate Jerry Spindler. Do we have to take a vote? Nope. All right.
Need a second.
I'll say.
Yes, second. All right, perfect. You want to take roll?
All right,
Spindler?
roll call. Donnie Robinette is not present. Jason Belk,
Present.
Jeanette Baker. James Kopp is not here right now. Don Cummings.
Present.
Jennifer Eccles.
Here.
Joe Hubbard.
Here.
Paul Jacqueline.
Here.
So we have enough present for a quorum.
All right, perfect. All right, moving on. Are there any modifications to the agenda?
There are none, but under consent agenda, I would like to note that not indicated in the expenses you received in teamwork, but there is a check for $2,500 to pay for the chamber conference. I'll add that to next month's expenses, but that is a check that you'll be writing this evening.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on. Any committee reports?
You still have to get somebody to motion to approve that consent agenda, a second, and
There we go. Do we have anybody to put that into motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda, with the understanding there's one additional payment to be made.
Second.
Okay, and Jeanette seconds that. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? Okay, it is approved. All right, moving on. Are there any committee reports?
there are no committee reports, nor is there any old business.
Okay, moving on to new business.
You've had a chance to review the grant resolution that would basically allow me to renew such things as concert sponsorships, First Fridays, and existing things. Those would just automatically renew, and then also allow me the discretion to approve timely grants with the president's permission. So are there any questions on that resolution that was in the packet?
Not on my end.
Okay, I guess we would have a motion to approve that resolution.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-01, authorizing discretionary spending by the executive director.
I'll second.
That's second by Don.
Yeah.
Down there. All right. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, it is passed.
All right, with that in mind, I will be logging these as they come, and in your board packet, you see that being paid, or that before us, we have First Fridays. Danny will be doing that once again in 2026. We also have the Franklin Parks concert sponsorship. We're title sponsors, and they're also doing a branded event in our name, the Festival of Festivals, to kick off festival season, and also the winery concert sponsorship again this year. So those will therefore renew. So before we move into the new actual grant requests this evening, I'll have Rosie come up and tell you a little summary of how the Chamber Conference, one of our first conferences that we hosted, went.
Good evening. Rosie Chambers, Franklin Chamber of Commerce. First, I want to thank you on behalf of the Indiana Chamber Executive Association for the $2,500 grant. for our conference. It was a competitive bid process, and the two finalists were Fishers and Franklin. And I'm quite confident that the grant kind of helped push us over the edge. So thank you so much for that. The grant was for chamber leadership for executive directors, presidents, CEOs, and throughout the state. So Indiana Chamber Executive Association had about nearly 50 people. I think 46 registrations was the final total that came to our community for 2 days. We had our conference at Garment Factory, and then of course we made use of lots of restaurants in town and the haberdasher and different things like that. Many of them stayed at the interstate, at hotels, and also Airbnbs. We really do appreciate this partnership. We had so many great comments about the community and the welcoming spirit that everyone felt here in Franklin. So again, thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for me? We appreciate it. It was nice to have a conference in my hometown, and it felt really good to be able to show it off. So thank you again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rosie.
All right, so the only grant then that's before us that's new this evening is Danny Causey from DDF will be talking about upgrading the courthouse lighting. And just for background for the board members that are new, I think Kim Smith, maybe 3 years ago, brought us a photo from Licking County, Ohio, where their courthouse looked like the most magical gingerbread experience. It was just every color imaginable, and it drew people from all around. And here in Franklin, the holiday lighting is a tradition, and it does draw people, but the lighting has been underwhelming. And so Danny's going to talk to you about his efforts to upgrade that.
Thank you so much. I've got so many Festival Country folders now. You guys are our best partner. So thank you so much. I'd also like to take a second and introduce my coworker. Our assistant director is Jen Weltick. So she's here with us tonight. She hasn't been in one of these meetings before, but I told her we're going to the spaceship room. You know, it looks like a spaceship, but so this is an unusual ask. I realize that coming to you. So a little background is a lot of folks probably assume the city of Franklin pays for the holiday lights. That's not true. So the city of Franklin does help contribute some, but every year it falls on Discover Downtown Franklin to raise the money for all of the lights around the courthouse area, including all of North Main Street, Madison Street, all of the area around the courthouse. Before me and Rosie were involved, it used to be the chamber. Some smart person got rid of it at the chamber and it fell on our Main Street group. So each year Discover Downtown Franklin raises between $30,000 and $40,000 for this. And we do that through sponsorships, through the tree sponsorships, which Festival Country has helped us with before. But probably when I took this position almost exactly 2 years ago, the biggest thing I heard about was how lackluster the courthouse Christmas lights were compared to how they used to be when they went all the way down to the ground. Well, just very brief background on that is when the city redid the streetscape, they couldn't do that anymore. It would void the warranty on the light poles. And we ended up with 8 strands of lights on top of the courthouse. Last year, it was even less lackluster because there was 3 strands with the scaffolding up. So it looked like this. I'm sure you've probably all seen the packet. So we have an opportunity to work with our professional installers. They have it scheduled for next week to take it from this to this. So we can turn it, and this is an awesome group of guys. These guys do the Indy Zoo. They do all kinds of stuff. They do a really nice job. Everything is installed in our city already, except for this. So I went to the county commissioners and asked for help and support with the funding. They were able to support us at a $3,000 level. And whether Ken knew it or not, Ron West recommended that I came and talk to you. So this is a one-time ask. I want to make sure you know that. I know this isn't your typical ask, but this is an opportunity to really plus something. So I know that with my time at Festival Country, that's something that has typically been interesting for you guys. And I think it's also going to be out there in all the media, all the social media, that Festival Country is the group that finally made this happen. So there's more to it, but I'd be happy to answer any questions for you if you have any. But essentially, you're going to take it from 8 strands of lights to 20 strands. And I think you're going to make a lot of people really happy because it's been years since it really was something impressive. And I think it'll look nice. So
What's making it physically possible?
it's been physically possible.
You said concern about the light posts.
Oh, so just to be clear, these are not going all the way to the ground. So this is, it's just still on top of the courthouse area. I was just talking about before. So like in the 90s and earlier, they went all the way out to the streets. So although that's still not possible, and another thing is like the trees have grown way bigger. They don't necessarily, that's like a longer term vision. This is the near term, make it look really nice.
Do you actually own the lights? Have to store
Yeah,
them
so
throughout the
that's
year?
the main reason this is a one-term fee. So
Oh, yeah.
the 9,800, the exact number I don't remember off the 9885. So that is actually to replace the 8 strands we own now. He said they're cracked in bad condition. So this is 20 new strands installed, and this is a situation where we own all the lights. So to give you an idea, our cost before they looked at replacing things this year was around 29,000, and then he sent me an add-on bill that was like 2,500 or something to replace the ones that went bad. So we do own them. They store them for us over the off year, but everything else is already installed.
How long did you have the previous lights? What's kind of the life cycle of these things?
Well, so I've only been the director for 2 years, to tell you the truth. But as far as I know, they last pretty long. We only had to replace a few this year.
Okay.
They are stored off-site in a climate-controlled facility, so they do last pretty long. Regardless of what we do, we would have to replace those 8 this year, though. So, I would say at least 5 to 10 years is what it's been.
Okay.
So is the request tonight the 10,000?
It's
Is that-
9,000.
Okay, and is, how much of that covers the new strands that were?
This
That's all for-
request for you is only the new.
New light.
Yeah, so it's literally the top of the courthouse.
Okay.
Everything else is paid for by DDF through sponsorships. And one other thing I would like to mention is we really went out on a limb this year, and through the Community Foundation, we did a program called Light the Legacy, where our staff and all of our board members donated, plus our organization. We gave a total of $20,000 to be a match. So we have, I looked at it today, it was over $39,000, I believe. Is that right? Over 30. So we're raising a lot of money for our endowment to help lighten that load.
Mhm.
But also we just put $20,000 in our endowment. So this was a little bit of a surprise, but I think it's a great opportunity still.
Thank you.
Do you have, I guess, was the vision for this based on anything? Is there any other communities that have done this?
Yeah.
that-
So there's multiple other courthouses, even in Indiana, like Wabash, where they have it look more like a web almost. And if you look at the photo, I don't know, is that something we could pull up, Felicia, or
On the PowerPoint?
it's in my application. It's okay if not, but so currently they go to the corners and the middles. And on here, I know it's really hard to see from your vantage point, but there's 2 little white rectangles in between each corner in the middle, and they work for mounting points. So our lighting professional went up and looked at it, and he said the webbing wasn't really going to work for our courthouse, but this would look more like a monument circle fill, like with just a bunch of parallel straight lines. So the idea came from him, and then I just made a Photoshop to give you guys an idea of what it would look like.
So the one-time ask is for the strands themselves.
Mhm.
There's got to be an annual cost to put them up and take them down after that.
Yeah, so and we are already typically covering that, so we will be able to cover that with our sponsorship programs moving forward.
Okay. Any further discussion? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve
No.
$9,885.
We go. Do we have a second? Second. All right. All in favor for the $9,885 towards the lighting for downtown, the Light Festival, say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed?
Thank you so much. If I could have about 30 seconds more of your time.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited to hear Rosie with her sponsorship. Franklin is the C of the CVT is finally coming into play for us, which when I was on the board, it really wasn't. And so that's really awesome. So we've been working with Ken on back channels. We have a conference of about almost 400 people coming for 3 nights later this year. So we'll be talking to you about that. And I think Ken's going to tell you a little bit about, you see $50,000 there. We met with the mayor today and he has a lot of questions. But we're looking at a proposal to add some more outdoor seating to our downtown area. So we just Discover Downtown Franklin wants to tell you thank you so much for your help and we look forward to working with you more. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Danny.
Dan, we'd like you to come forward to the giant check. Yeah,
We were surprised last time.
we're very excited that we have the giant check. Everybody wants to stand.
Dapper.
Squeeze in.
Okay.
Take it in center and stay go. They're like 5 feet. Thank you. Thank you.
I should also mention Mackenzie's on our board. She's doing a great job with this stuff. We're glad to partner.
And you all are free to go if you want, or you.
I have that.
Or entertain.
Thanks,
I just pulled up your photos, Danny. It's definitely
Senator-
underwhelming.
Senator Banks, Northeastern Indiana Military Center. Listen to, like I said, came out to.
Have Steve, the toy store sign, the Fun Plaza sign is up, so check that out on.
Oh, it is Fun Plaza.
The rest of that stuff should all be here by the end of the year.
Awesome.
Nice meeting you.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening.
Thank you all.
All right, before we move on to the approval of the meeting schedule, I was remiss in not introducing Kate. She's our, go ahead and stand up, Kate. She's our intern. She's from Franklin College. She's been with us for the fall, going to a lot of events, wrote a column in the newspaper, doing a lot of the things that Mackenzie did. So basically learning the trade, and now when she graduates, she can go off and get a job in this field. So.
Hello, Kate.
All right, you all had a chance to review the meeting schedule via Teamwork, and there's miscellaneous copies in front of you. It's the same as this year, second Wednesday, with the exception of the room wasn't available in November, so we moved that to a Tuesday. So any questions on the schedule for next year?
Not at all. Motion to approve the 2026 schedule.
Second. You asking for a motion? Or
Yes.
Are you giving?
Asking for a motion to approve the
Then
schedule.
I will make that motion.
Okay, and I'll second that motion. So motion put in place by Mr. Cobb, seconded by myself. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. All right.
Thank you, Jason. Treasurers. Report.
All right, for the tax period September pay October, the Johnson County Treasurer's Office collected $82,777.23, which is down from $84,997.78 for the same month in 2024. At the end of September, the CBT's checkbook balance was $518,111.27. Expenses presented in the month of October total $60,916.98. In October, there were 3 deposits totaling $323,096.47, and there was $4.42 paid in interest. At the end of October, the CBT's checkbook balance was $774,015.23. Expenses presented in the month of November total $139,688.09. These details have been shared on Teamwork for review. Claims are scheduled to be paid following tonight's board meeting.
Thank you, Jeanette. Mr. Young.
Yes. Good evening, John Young, Board Attorney. Just a couple things to go over. I will start with the resolution you just approved, allowing Ken to make certain expenditures. I spoke to Ken about this as well. At the end of the day, even if he needs to approve and fund a grant request, everything will still ultimately need to be approved by the board. So hopefully most of the time, and I think part of this was the board didn't want to have to spend a lot of time hearing grant requests that, you know, that Ken was going to approve or recommend you adopting. So I think it's, to help maybe save some of the board's time. But to the extent that it can be done, I've counseled Ken to go ahead and bring those requests to you and get approval prior to issuing those checks. And in regards to the sponsorships, and it sounds like you've already done that this year for your major events, such as sponsoring the concert series and other matters like that, the board can adopt a continuing resolution, okay, for certain reoccurring annual expenses to where it just automatically renews. And I don't know if I heard there was a vote on that, but that's just a suggestion to take care of that. And again, I think that also protects Ken, so he's not put in a bad spot, maybe approving things that the board could perhaps, come back and say, why'd you do that? So just a couple thoughts on that. But speaking with Ken, I think that's exactly how he intends to utilize that. But this will give him the ability to fund certain things, because we have lost on certain opportunities in the past where we just missed the debt. The board couldn't meet to actually approve it. So I think that takes care of that. As well, I prepared the Fun Plaza agreement, and it sounds like that's moving forward. That will be by the Tootly New store. If you guys have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer.
Is that a three-way agreement between us and DDF and the store, or what?
Yeah, because it is Discover Downtown Franklin. It is DDF, right?
Yeah. So us and
Is there city property involved too at all?
No, it'll be on the Toodly-Doo property. So we're basically the owners of it in case Toodly-Doo vacates, but they're taking control of it and operating it.
Mm-hmm. And we also asked that they put that as part of their or that they insure their property with the business insurance in case it gets vandalized or something like that. So, and then Ken had also asked, or we had also spoken about pursuing the Gatling Gauntlet legislation. It's that time of year again. I spoke to Commissioner Baird earlier today because Commissioner Baird was very involved last year in trying to get this legislation approved. Commissioner Baird, if you're not aware, also served as the president of the Indiana Commissioners Association. That may not be the right word for it. So I told Ken that I would ask the board tonight how much it would want me to become involved again in trying to get legislation passed, which would provide for immunity for operating an obstacle course. That's what we were going after. Commissioner Baird, as you can imagine, said that they have, and I don't know if he was speaking on behalf of the Commissioners Association or just Johnson County or both, but they have several priority bills that they are trying to move this year concerning SB 1 and a lot of the changes that occurred in the last session. So that will not be a priority bill for the commissioners to pursue. However, Commissioner Baird said that he is very supportive of it, would get involved if he could, but offered the county attorney, Tiffany Costley, who also worked on this on the county's behalf last year, that if the CVT wants me to pursue trying to move this legislation forward again, he said, you have that the county attorney, Tiffany, has full freedom to help us on that at no charge. From my standpoint, if the board does want me to try and work on that again, most of the legwork was done last year. This bill was authored by both a representative in the House and a state senator. It just never got a committee hearing. So I have not reached out to them, but it very well may be that those same legislators would be willing to offer this legislation again. I prepared several letters last year detailing what the issue was, so I don't have to do that again. And we try and get this passed a second time around. I do not believe it would be as much work on my end, as it was last time, because that work's already been done. And if we do get a committee hearing, and the county park is also very interested in seeing this pass as well, At that point, yeah, we want to go up there, offer testimony. The commissioners, the county would certainly help on that as well. So speaking with Ken, I just leave that at I would take your direction on what you want me to do, or if you do want me to, try and get this legislation moved again, to what extent, or whatever you choose.
My thoughts on it, we can't leave that facility just sit, so we have to keep trying to move forward. It seems from what we learned in the past about the only way forward is legislatively.
Yeah.
I do have a question. If I recall, there's already broad immunity for things like equestrian courses and skate parks and a bunch of other stuff.
Correct.
We're just not on that list.
It's not specific
Is there
to an obstacle.
Something small, like an amendment to the existing laws, just to add that on?
That's what we were proposing last year, and the commissioners did try and go about it slightly differently, which was to carve out Johnson County specifically, and the county where Clear Lake Park is up north. I can't remember if it's Huntington County, but the way that they thought, their lobbyists thought would maybe be more palatable to get it moved, is by specifying this only applies to Johnson County and this county up north. Whatever it would, I mean, hey, if that would be acceptable and that would get it to move, that's fine with me. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't have that apply statewide, which is how a lot of these immunity bills are written. They apply to everybody. I really don't care as long as Johnson County would get it. So, so we just find out. My first calls would be back to Representative Mayfield and Senator Walker, who authored these bills last year. They'd be my start to say, would you offer this again, and see what they say. And there were several other legislators that we had reached out to as well, talking about this issue. So
Did you get a feel for the level of support or any opposition from anyone?
So myself and the county's lobbyist had a meeting last year with the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and I just don't think they understood why this was necessary. The response is, we don't need any more immunity bills. And my response is, we have these immunity bills in place because without them, you could, in this case, the local government could not offer recreational amenities that are legal that have an inherent risk to them, just like a skate park. That's why immunity provisions are needed, because if there was immunity provided, because the issue right now is there's no insurance. The county's insurance will not cover the Gatling Gauntlet. So if there was a defensive immunity in the law, that would make it more insurable and make it much more likely that if the insurance company knew, hey, even if we got sued, we're going to be immune from liability because of some specific protection in the law, it's very likely that they go ahead and say, yeah, we can insure that now.
Yeah, I agree. I hate to have this sit, especially with all the, I guess, the hard work getting it going, and then also trying to pass that last year. So you said the vibe is that there's more important things that they wanted to address?
Yes, and keep in mind, last year was the long session. Well, they being the commissioners, the legislature.
Yes. In terms of passing the legislative.
Yeah, I think last year they had so many things going on with it being the long session, being a budget year, that they just weren't interested in it. They may not be interested in it again this year. However, it being a short session, typically issues like this are better to be brought during the short session, because there's not supposed to be a lot of business. And at least in my mind, this is a very simple bill. It's an easy fix to a local problem that we're having, and as we found out last year, to a problem in some other communities as well.
Almost just like cleaning up the law.
It would be a change. It would be a change. I don't know if I'd call it a cleanup, but it would clean things up for us. Hopefully.
Is there anything, I guess, that you could add into that and get supportive of other communities that may align with that? Maybe not directly.
Well,
I just know that the north side's growing. A lot of people are adding all these different attractions, and I just feel like they might run into an issue that's aligned, but not the exact issue.
Well, this would be specific to obstacle courses. And Clear Lake Park up north is another community that built an obstacle course. And the same thing happened to them is their insurance company or the city's insurance company, it may have been a city park or a municipal park, said, we're not going to cover that anymore. So it's only impacting a couple of communities, but to the extent that other communities in the state or counties would say this is a good idea, if this were applied statewide, then hey, other cities, counties, whoever could go ahead and develop their own obstacle courses.
Oh, John, at Eagle Creek Park, there's a fitness trail that has a lot of infrastructure on it.
Mhm.
And some of them are just like a little exercise thing to do, sit-ups or something, but some of them are obstacles. And I'm wondering what's going on there with it.
Keep in mind, it was the county's insurance that said, we're not going to insure this.
And no other insurance company would touch it.
That was
I
my.
can probably address that one. I've been to that one, and I think that falls under the category of exercise equipment. It's more like what you would find at Blue Heron Park in Franklin. There's a pull-up bar. There's like a sit-up thing. I don't think there's anything of any height or any challenge.
It's like a 15-foot net to climb over.
I don't think that's there anymore.
That was there 2 weeks ago.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I didn't. Well, if that gets on the radar of their insurance company, they'll pull the policy.
So the board doesn't need to take any formal action, but if you want me to go ahead and continue to pursue on behalf of the CBT and also the park and the county, again, the county will assist us, with their legal counsel, who also worked on this last year, so that would be helpful. But I'm happy to pursue it again and see if we can get a better result this time around, if that's the board's wishes.
Yeah,
I think we do that.
I agree.
I agree.
All right, well then we will continue that. Now's the good time. So I'll reach out to the representatives that were trying to help us last year and we'll try and get it going again.
As far as I'm concerned, if you get it accomplished, you can backbill double rate.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, to agree with me, but that's my take.
And then finally, there was some changes that were already approved. They have been approved to your contract, correct?
Yeah.
There's a
And-
$250,000 of public money that up to now has been wasted. That's
Invest.
sitting there.
Okay, yeah.
It's in-
So, strike what I was just saying. That's all I had for tonight, but I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Young.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, President's report. I do not have anything. So we will move on. Ken, Director's report.
All right. The full staff highlights are at the end, but I did want to call out a few things, especially this month. Mackenzie started school presentations. The first week did 3 schools, distributed 225 kids guides. But here's the coolest thing. One kid, when she was out at a festival, ran up to her and said, "You remember me?" And he, because of her presentation, went out to a festival. A couple days later, in the visitor center, another kid runs up to her, "Do you remember me?" He brought not only himself, but his whole family, extended family, and they walked around downtown Franklin and shopped and ate. So literally this thing to get tourism in the hands of 4th graders is resulting in them sharing that information with their families and becoming tourists in their own community. You saw in the board packet a version of the activities guide with new spreads that include a coffee spread and user-generated content. Don gets a gold star for editing the whole thing and providing us some valuable feedback. Thank you, Don. Placer. So Shelby has been, those requests have been picking up. And for example, Franklin Parks and Recreation ran concerts. And what they were able to do is they found that by moving the concerts to Saturday last year, they were competing with Mallow Run and Greenwood, and that caused a dip in attendance. So they took that information to the mayor, and now they'll be doing both Friday and Saturday this year to make sure that they have success. So that's just one example of how Shelby's work is valuable for our partners. You may have seen on our social media that we nominated Tiffany Lauderdale Phillips of Wild Geese for a Hoosier Hospitality Award, and she was one of 12 winners at a ceremony this week. And Rosie was here telling you about the conference. Mackenzie was set up and welcomed the people as they came in, and then I did a verbal welcome. I was called up to the stage and welcomed them to the town and all that. So we're making progress with the Trafalgar's Farmers Market. Brian from Trafalgar hopes to potentially have it done this year. The Fun Plaza, as Danny indicated, will be done this year. And Shelby was with us and had this long list of things to catch up on drone coverage. So she's got new drone footage from a lot of our communities. So that's just some of the highlights you'll see later on. And Felicia developed, so the Fun Plaza will all be branded with our stuff, and Felicia developed that design. And next slide. Our grant, we worked with Jen from Trafalgar Farmers Market, and they felt it would be best to market and support the farmers market long term by having a tent, a tablecloth, the wavy man, t-shirts, posters, and all that. So we utilized that grant, and Felicia designed all this stuff for them. So they were able to use it at their last event of the year, and it really upped the game. And the good thing is we'll be co-branded with them going forward. So not only do they benefit from the grant, but we also benefit from free publicity every Sunday or whatever day they choose to do it next year.
That's awesome. Good job, Felicia.
That's great.
All right. Website, 54,000 unique users in October. So as you can see, even though we're getting late into fall, we're blowing away last year's numbers. They continue to come to us looking for festivals and events and related things. Another busy month with media. I actually think I'm going to move this slide to the end as well, because every month we've got 5 to 10 things. And what's good about this is we don't pay for any of this. It's at the end of the year, we get probably $250,000 worth of free publicity. All right, and just a few placer things that Shelby has in the report. You see Homecoming, the success of that, Halloween Town, 8,500 visitors. And again, our primary locations where people gather are the downtown's Franklin with 98,500, Old Town Greenwood with 66,900. So in all, the county received 4.5 million visits from non-residents. That's up 3.7% year over year. What's the most visited non-chain restaurant? Shelby threw that in this month, and it's Ale Emporium with 33,500 visits, including Don Cummings. He was there.
Right.
Maybe?
Maybe I was there. Like,
Okay, all right.
I don't do it enough.
Okay, all right.
It's nearby.
It is. Smith Travel Report continues to show that we are among the top in occupancy. I actually had a question, rather than me telling you, I have a question for Jeanette and Jason. How long does it take for the new property, as an example, Staybridge in Greenwood, to get that occupancy ramped up? That's question number one.
My personal opinion is it really just depends on how well it's being sold.
Okay.
And what the demand is in the market. Some hotels will take longer to ramp up, or if you're very aggressive and there's a demand or a need in the market, they will ramp up really quickly.
Okay.
So it really just kind of depends on the actual hotel and market.
Okay. I think that that's going to put a little pressure on our occupancy rate until they do get ramped up. My second question is, it's an extended stay hotel. From your experience, what percentage of people stay 30 days or more at an extended stay hotel? Because if they stay that length, we don't get any innkeeper's tax.
Not very often. So they're probably looking more for like the 5 to 14 day range ish, but they have it broken down in terms of rates. But their location, one's in Johnson County, it's right across from 65 from all those plants, walking distance to a lot of others. So just proximity, they're gonna naturally get occupancy. Not to mention exit 101 is just booming. You know, they're always busy. So I think that they'll be fine. It's a good setup. It's just like Jeanette said, it's a matter of marketing and knowing that that hotel is there, because a lot of these travelers come over and over and over again, and you know, they just book out of habit rather than constantly look what's available. So that would be the determining factor. But the extended stay, there is enough extended stay. A lot of the construction, a lot of the manufacturing plants, they might have overseas people stay for a couple weeks to fix equipment, things like that. It happens a lot.
All right, sounds like when that ramps up, it will benefit our bottom line.
Extended stay hotel it varies from brand to brand, whether it's a Hilton or an IHG. This is an IHG. Normal stay bridge, the actual brand goal for your ESOP or your extended stay occupancy is between the 35 and 40% mark. That's ideal on operating expenses, controlling expenses, things of that nature. That's what IHG goes in with, is for the model. But again, it depends on the market. I currently have a stay bridge in my portfolio that, believe it or not, is running 62% extended stay over 30 plus. But they have gotten certain accounts that they're building new factories and new production in the market, so they needed, it worked for them. So, but the typical model is 35 to 40%.
Okay. I knew you guys would know. That's valuable. Appreciate your insight.
All right.
And as a traveler, what's my attraction to the extended stay? Is it cheaper per day, or is it they have better amenities for somebody who's
Second apartment. So they
Oh,
have,
right, it's got a kitchen.
Kitchen,
yeah, full fridge. Some have hot plates, some have stoves. Like it's,
And
yeah.
with Staybridge, they have a complimentary guest social every evening where theoretically, if you
It's
like
a very
smaller
nice
dinners,
patio out
you
there.
can have dinner and a couple of beers or a couple of drinks, and that's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of each week. So, and complimentary breakfast every morning. So,
All right, here's our balances currently this past month. So that's where we stand. Jerry, for those of you that I think, do you all know Jerry from
Most of you do.
everybody?
Met Joe or James.
Okay, Jerry, why don't you go ahead and Jerry was on the board up until like January, February.
2023.
Okay, why don't you just tell a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah, I'm retired now, but I worked for Anderson Hauser for almost 30 years. And one of the reasons I wanted to get on the board initially was just because of all the convention and visitor activity we had as a company, our corporate visits, that type of thing. So that interested me, and it still does. So I was glad to hear about the convention here in Franklin, but that's something I appreciated. As a company, we've always had, thousands of visitors every year from around the globe. We're a global company. So we invite a lot of people from other countries, from every state in the union. So we're constantly bringing in visitors. And that's something I just got ingrained in me as part of my job. So that's something I really appreciated when this board started up. Don told me about it. He started Journey Johnson County, and which was really great and helped our company. So I thought this would be another way for me to contribute.
Well, we're glad to have you back.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that concludes my report.
And he's a Weller fan.
Yes.
I saw that. I noticed.
Yes.
I guess speaking of that, before I open it up to the floor, to the audience, Festival of Lights in Johnson County Parks, have we heard anything about what they're doing? And
Deck the stalls.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they're having people decorate the stalls that have horses. They're also having our skating rink. What else?
No reindeer.
No reindeer. They tried to get live reindeer.
I brought up at the last meeting that I think they're having some difficulty finding somebody to hang lights, but I believe they have found somebody, so that's on track. My understanding.
Okay.
They are looking for a volunteer to be in a reindeer suit, so they have to be somewhat tall.
What are you doing? Well, and the other one was there's a lot of talk of, I guess, attractions coming to the county. Have you heard much that would impact or we could support, anything like that you can disclose or no?
Yeah, there's a 7-unit basketball court that will convert into 12 volleyball courts. So that's been publicly announced. I have it in my notes, but yeah, there's
And that is over by.
Jones Crossing in
Yeah.
135, if I recall
Mhm.
correctly.
Okay.
So yeah, we're excited about that. Just talking to the mayor in Greenwood, and he still hopes to put a couple sheets of ice up there, so that remains in the works. So there, yeah, Dax in Bargersville has talked about a sports complex.
Yeah, there's just, yeah, a lot of things, and I'm wondering how we can partner with the tourism aspect, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, we always let them know that we'll promote the heck out of them. That's like our main thing that we can do for them,
Hmm.
since they're private entities, but we always offer that, and we often get invited to meetings.
Okay,
So, yeah.
perfect. Okay, is there anybody that has a public comment out there? Nope. Okay, well, I will put a motion to adjourn. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we are adjourned.